Hello everybody, I'm Alfred. I watching and listening to Alfred's daily Q&A live stream podcast. You can post your comment at any time and I'll be responding to it. Post any questions on old Q&As, on new Q&As, then I will address it in future Q&As. If you happen to meet me at any of the Q&As and I'm talking about something, because I often kick off with a theme, just hop on and see what you want to say and ask whatever question you want in the comment section and I will quickly address it. That being said, I would like to talk about Candace Owens and the Elon Musk Donald Trump rift. When it comes to Candace Owens, it's interesting. I've always looked at certain things. When you look at certain situations, you have to be able to predict or guess certain other things, because it's like Sherlock Holmes once said that a electrician, without seeing the Niagara Falls or without seeing the ocean, by just seeing a drop of water, can tell that there is an ocean that exists. When you come to think of it, many of us have not seen many of the animals we believe in. There are a lot of people who don't believe in God, but a lot of things we believe in, we never verify them. Like your parents, you never sent your parents to, take a blood test and you take a blood test to see if they are really your biological parents. You never did that. You just believe that, whoever you're calling dad or mom, those are your parents. A lot of us have never seen certain animals before. Some people have never seen an elephant before. I've never seen an elephant in real life. I've never seen a living lion in real life. But I don't doubt that they exist. So all that, when it comes to believing in God, it's funny how people pick and choose. When it comes to believing in God, they are saying they want to see God in person or whatever. That would be the evidence for them. It's crazy. But the rest of us are seeing the glory of God all around us, and we are seeing the evidence of God and the workings of God all around us. We see all of creation and we see God in his handwork. We see the work of the creator in all that is created. That brings it back to Candace. Candace jumped and decided to become a Catholic. Because her husband was Catholic. Let's not ignore that. When people jump and become a quote unquote, jump into a religion, because of a relationship, because they are in love with somebody in that relationship, how does it last? How does it work? Is it based on what they believe about that religion? If that relationship crumbles, so will their new conversion. We've just seen the Brittany Renner thing with that guy, that she quote unquote married or whatever. She became a Muslim. This is somebody that is known for being a gold digger and a 304. She became a Muslim so that she can get that guy. After marrying him and the relationship fell apart, Brittany Renner has gone back to being the 304 that she was. Because that's the reality. In the case of Candace Owens, she marries a wealthy white guy that comes from a somewhat old family, old money, somewhat. And she just converts to Catholicism, his own, denomination. She wasn't before that a Christian. She wasn't opposed to Christianity, but she wasn't a Christian. She didn't believe in, she looked at it as, it is not for me. She's one of those people. But because of her husband, she just jumped in. So it's like, how sincere is the whole thing? And look at her faithfulness and her loyalty to Kanye West. How can you be complaining about the morality of people like, that girl from Gossip Girl, that married the guy who plays Deadpool, those people, and how they treated, in that new movie that we're making, with how they treated the guy that was starring and was directing, the whole issue. I can't quite remember all their names, but that whole situation, the girl that is a friend of Taylor Swift, that was also, the blonde in Gossip Girl, one of the blondes in Gossip Girl. So that girl, or now woman, all the situation, you are critical of all the things that she did. But Candace Owens will never criticize Kanye West. Kanye West is completely off the rails, and he has been off the rails. There is no crazy thing that can be imagined to be said that Kanye West has not said. The things that have gone viral, paid in comparison to if you go to Kanye West's, Twitter account itself, and he deletes some of his posts. So he posts the most crazy things. There are so many crazy things that he has already deleted. And then it's not like he's deleted it, he has changed. He will now post something even more crazy later on. And when you think it's enough, Kanye West just goes on. But Candice has no critic. Now her channel is all about critiquing celebrities. And apparently there's motion when you talk about viewership motion, when you talk about trending topics and celebrities. Because that is what people are searching for. And when a topic is trending, YouTube or whatever platform, we keep on suggesting that video or videos on that topic, because it's like, if you are interested in this video, you'll be interested in this video. And if the video is about the gossip about this celebrity, you'll be also interested in this other person's gossip about that same celebrity. So you are just watching the same take or similar takes of the same issue. But if you jump into that wave, you will jump into that trending wave. And if you consistently do it, you'll now see a situation where a lot of people who love gossip, celebrity gossip, will start following your channel or your platform or whatever, platform it's on. And as they follow you, your viewership increase, your followership increase, and all of that. But they are just about, you have an audience that is not about you per se. It's about you pushing gossip. It's like a difference between a successful person and Oprah. Oprah is quote unquote successful for talking to successful people. What did Oprah herself achieve? What successful thing did she do? What did she bring into this world? All she did is interview successful people. And that has its place. So that being said, when you look at all these things like Candice, she will criticize everybody, every other celebrity, but she will never criticize Kanye West. You see a lot of dishonesty. Now she has gone on this anti-Jewish whatever and complain about the Jews and all of that. Now, when it comes to the whole situation with Israel, let us not act like this whole thing was not started by Hamas. What Hamas did to Israel, they started it. They launched it. And, Hamas it's a terror organization. Why would you want a terror organization to exist? The problem becomes, where does being a member of Hamas end? And where does being a quote-unquote citizen of Palestine begin? What is the difference between the terrorists and the innocent people, on the quote-unquote Palestinian side? Keep in mind that there was no place called Palestine, historically, for a long time. That is actually newer. The new creation there, and what is newly created is Palestine, not Israel. And of course, a lot of Muslims, because of what the Quran says about Jews, they just support anybody that is against the Jews. That's why they are supporting, a lot of the Muslims are supporting quote-unquote Palestine. There should be no Palestine. There's no such thing. But that being said, what Netanyahu did in response is crazy. And it's just like when the Bible says this person was moved by the devil to do this and do that. I believe that's what's happening with Netanyahu. He's moved by the devil because it makes no sense. His strategy, by just what he did is he wants to level the whole place, the whole of quote unquote that region, that so-called Palestine. He wants to level it to the ground, and he made provision for people to leave if they are not Hamas. So what he did is he's kind of like he cornered them. If you want to leave, you can leave, but he corners all the exits. Keep in mind that Egypt do not want the Hamas people or the quote unquote Palestinians. So keep that in mind. The other countries do not want them. So, and those are Muslim countries. So ask yourself why. They know that these people are, a lot of them are terrorists. And the real thing is that those who actually want peace have left that land. Everybody in that so-called quote-unquote Palestine wants war. And they are ready to die for it. Just like Iran. Iran are people who are programs for jihad. They believe that, that is how God will bless them. So they are looking to the future. They believe that is how Allah will bless them. So they want to eliminate everything that goes against um, um, their view of the Quran. They want to eliminate Israel. They want to eliminate America. There are a lot of foolish Americans who are supporting Iran. But they don't see that the day that Iran has the capability to throw bombs or nukes at America, they will the same way they have been doing it to Israel. The day they are powerful enough, nothing is going to stop them. They are going straight for America. And it won't stop there. There was somebody who said they came for the Jews, but I was not a Jew. They came for the Christians, but I was not a Christian, so I did nothing. Then later, when they came for me, there was nobody there to help me. So you have to understand how jihadist thinks. The goal is to force everybody to become Muslim. And it is not even this kind of Muslim where you are peacefully living and you are doing this. And it's not all this kind. No, it's a very strict Sharia kind of Muslim world that they want everybody to be, and they will kill everybody who is out of it. And according to their version of Islam, that is okay. That is actually a righteous thing to do. So when you have people like that and people indoctrinated in that direction, like in Iran, there's no stopping. They will just keep coming. So it doesn't stop with Israel. Israel is just the first stop of action. They will go for America. They will go for Europe. Everywhere that say, and all these people that are jumping around saying LGBT, it's funny that a lot of gays are like doing gays for Palestine and queer for Palestine. They support this. They support Iran. They don't see that if the people in Iran and those kinds of Muslims, if they get into power, they are killing all the gays. They will kill all the gays. It's not like Christians that we give to tell the gays, preach to the gay, and they give your life to Christ, blah blah blah. And if they don't, the Christian just leaves them to live their life, and then from time to time be preaching to them. Then at the very worst, you have the Christians who will shout, "You go to hell if you keep living like that." That is the worst thing that can happen. But when it comes to with the radical Muslim, that is not the case. They are just straight up gathering the gays and burning them and throwing them off buildings. It is not a negotiation. It is not a topic. Look at what had happened to the gays that were in the Muslim countries themselves. There are many of them that were flogged to death. They don't play around with that. It is not like Christians that we preach to you and then leave you and hope that you change. It is not like that, So, but the gays support these people, and it shows you the programming and the mindlessness of a lot of people on the left. And even when you look at the way people took the VAX, during the lockdowns, people were just injecting things into their body because the government told them. So, and it became part of the leftist movement that, oh, you are righteous, you're a good person if you take it. If you don't take it, you're a bad person. Oh, you're a Trump supporter, you're a MAGA. Oh, you're a racist if you don't take it. So all those kind of things, these people are, it's a cult. It's a mass cult that they don't know they are in. Leftism is a cult because there are a lot of things that don't make sense, that go against their value. Today, you see a leftist is completely against war. They hate George Bush because George Bush started war. Then, in another administration, in the Biden administration, you see the same leftists saying, oh, anybody that is against the war in Ukraine is bad, is terrible, is an evil person. I thought you hated war. Then, later, you now turn into somebody that is, everybody that is against war is bad. Then now that Trump is in office and, with what he did with the sending bombs with Iran, you have switched, to, oh, it should, he should stop it, oh, he's bad, blah, 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 blah. When Israel is throwing bombs at quote unquote Palestine, it is bad in the eyes of the leftists. But when Iran is doing it to Israel, it is okay. How do you compartmentalize your brain that in this case, where is your morals? Where does your moral stand? In this case, when this person does it, it's okay. When this person does it, it's bad. And what do you really stand for? There are people that are They don't know it's called programming. So they just do what the machine told them. You know, imagine so many things. There are so many things to go on. But let me try and stick to the topic and keep this short. The Candace Owens thing, we see the dishonesty and the craziness, and we see this anti-Jewish nonsense that she's doing. Now, with what Netanyahu is doing to that region, it's crazy because he has to understand there's a place of diplomacy. All the Muslim countries support um, quote unquote that Palestine region. And another thing you have to understand that the protection of Israel has always come from America and the Western world. But now, with the illegal immigration, the majority of the illegal immigrants are Muslims and people who come from Muslim countries. All of people are now saying that Paris is basically Pakistan now. The most popular name of a new child born in Europe recently is Mohammed. In Britain, the number one baby name, and because they record all these things, the number one baby name given for a baby, for a newborn baby in Britain today, the number one baby name is Mohammed. It shows you how the whole demographic has changed. All the white people believe in number one, they believed in having small families. Then from believing in having small families of at most 3 children, they now started believing in don't even have family, that is not compulsory. And you have a lot of white people, even in America, especially left, they say that, that sometimes, having kids may not make you happy and all of that, and there's that push. And you have a lot of women that could jump into the workforce. It's like, I don't need no man. They choose career over family. So a lot of women do not have children and do not plan to have children, and they look at it as a victory, but they are in the workforce. This is white women. There you now have Muslim immigrants who come from places where they have multiple wives. When a woman is pregnant, she carries that baby for 9 months. When a man has 3 wives, so that's like 3 different women can be pregnant at the same time. So and a situation where there is always one woman pregnant, how many children are coming from that into that family? And all of them are going to be Muslim. And all of them are going to be a different race, not the white man race and all that. So the future of the Western world is going to be Arab. It's not even going to be African American. African Americans are supporting all this anti-white thing, but they don't realize that Arabs do not like quote unquote black people. They don't know about how Arabs see, even today, how are quote unquote black people treated in Arab countries. Especially when there are quote unquote black people that don't have money. We heard about in Dubai, the Nigerians that were flogged. And that is Dubai. Dubai is even sophisticated and more advanced. If you go to the other place like the Pakistan and the main Middle East, how do quote unquote black people get treated there? So when America becomes an Arab nation, which is the direction it is going, because Trump is not going to live forever, and be in that place forever, unless MAGA has another plan that, but so much has been done. Let's say MAGA is cut out of the picture. With a lot of the wokeness, the greater population, the future population of England, Canada, and America is going to be Arab, because even Arabs have more children than Africans. It is more in them. Africans have more children than white people. So when it comes to population, the white population is being wiped away. And they don't see what is happening. And keep in mind, the majority of the LGBTQ people are white. All this transgenderism is also a way to neuter birth, because when somebody goes transgender, they cut off their penis, or they take all the transgender drugs to mix their hormones of the other gender. They can no longer have children. They are no longer fertile. They won't even talk about Monsanto and all the things that the fertilizer is doing. So there are a lot of foods that the white American is consuming that has all kinds of things in it that is also causing cancer and also decreasing fertility. So the white race is slowly going to become very, very small. And if they are thinking that when they become a minority, other people will look at them and give them minority status and treat them with respect, they are dreaming. The fact that you treat people a certain way doesn't mean they will reciprocate it. Their goods is cooked. When the population of white people becomes small, their goods is cooked. And the same way America and Europe and all these places are becoming Arab and Muslim, they will have Muslim ideals. So no more support for Israel. And that's something that Netanyahu doesn't seem to be seeing coming across the horizon. No more support for Israel. One of the biggest mistakes that Israel makes is that they keep themselves small and they keep themselves together. Anywhere that Israel... Now, there's nothing wrong with keeping yourself together, but there's something wrong with keeping yourself small. And there's something wrong with not allowing yourself grow, population-wise and bringing people into the fold. Jews don't win people. As a matter of fact, based on what I understand, you cannot become a part of the Jewish religion or whatever unless your mother or something is from the Jewish bloodline. So it's very exclusive. So you have a group of people who have a history of people discriminating against them and hating them. Jews will go into a nation. They will go in poor with nothing. After a while, they become so rich and powerful. Everybody hates them and believes that they are the reason for all the problem and they beat them down. That's what happened in Egypt. That's the reason for their slavery in Egypt in the Bible. It was written. The Pharaoh said that these Israelites are becoming very powerful. Soon they will have rule over us. So let us make them slaves. That was the reason. It was because of how they were being blessed. They were just rising. And that is something that anywhere you see Jews, they go somewhere, they just stay by themselves. And then they grow and rise. But by staying small and remaining people that you don't have any way of getting people to join you, you don't grow. It's not like Islam where people can convert to Islam or people can become Muslim and then they have also a plan of population growth. Jews remain small. So you are always vulnerable. And you depend on someone that is bigger, that has the population, and can grow to protect you. America, before, they had one vision and, people could migrate there. And then also the white population was growing. And, even though now it is going down, those were the people that were protecting, those were the big protecting the small. In reality, the big is always bigger than the small. The story of David and Goliath is not the story of a small David going against Goliath. To the world, it may be. But in the reality, it's a story of faith, because the story of David and Goliath is not the story of David versus Goliath. It's the story of David and God versus Goliath. So who is bigger? On David's side was the bigger side because God was on David's side. What was the first thing David said to Goliath? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Meaning, who is this person that doesn't have covenant with God? Who is this person that doesn't have God behind him? That was the first thing that came out of David's mouth. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? That was his. So that is how David looked at. David looked at, I have God, you don't have God. You are small. I will destroy you. Who is this person that doesn't have God? Who is this small person? So it was Goliath that was small, not David. Because David had God. And God is bigger. So the bigger, if you are small, you need someone who is bigger to protect you. Or you need to become big yourself. Israel's existence and might has been based on the big brother, America, helping them. But now that the population is changing to Arabs and Muslims, that help is going to disappear. When you look at all this illegal immigration thing, a lot of people who legally migrated to these countries are now governors, are now in the Senate, are now in government positions, and they view people from their home country as their brothers and sisters, not the white man in their new country. So they will do all kinds of things to make sure that it is their kin from their home country that will populate their new country. Somebody that grew up in Palestine, that is his history, that is his tribe. White people have forgotten what a tribe means. Somebody who, the people in Palestine, that is his tribe. That is where his root is. That is where his heart is. Now he becomes the mayor of New York or London or whatever. What kind of laws do you think he's going to pass? He's going to pass laws that favor Pakistan, and anyone that wants to come over, he will help them, and he will help create paths for them to advance in the European society faster than the white people who were indigenous there. So these are things that a lot of people are not looking at, and it is clearly going to happen. Now, to talk about the Elon Musk versus Trump situation, it is really sad what Elon Musk is doing, and Elon Musk is overestimating himself. He's putting too much importance on himself. He has listened to his own hype, because a lot of people hyped him up that, oh, it is him that made Trump president. It is him that made Trump president. No, it is not. The idea of Elon Musk thinking that he can start his own political party and it will work out well, it's a failure. He doesn't know anything about politics. The fact that somebody once said that, I think it was Emily Post, that she talked about the man of millions, that because a man has millions. This is Emily Post of the 30s, the 1930s period. She taught etiquette. She said that she noticed at parties, because a man has millions, he thinks he's an expert on every subject. And he wants to teach the doctors and teach this and teach all the other people at the parties. He wants to talk, and he feels that he's the authority on every subject. Just because you have millions doesn't mean that you know everything about every subject. You just know whatever helps you to make millions. If you are somebody that became a millionaire from, selling corn, that is your expertise. Don't go and start giving doctors advice because you have more money than the doctor. You now think that you automatically know better than the doctor. So don't do that. Elon Musk thinks he knows a lot about politics. And what I'm saying, look, the American political structure is different. You have to understand it. It's not enough to be a good person or to have good intentions. The big, beautiful bill that Trump is passing, there are things in it he doesn't like, but he has to do certain things that appeal to the left. He has to include certain things. So that is why, it is what it is. So you have to understand this. It's just like Nigeria. Why is it that there are people that, even people that have good intentions that go into politics, why can't they do anything? You have to understand the structure. There are a lot of people that may have good intentions. For them to even get the presidential ticket is a problem, because that requires politics. For you to even start the political party is a lot of politics. For your political party, to even be voted for, have any say, that is another issue. There are people that have realized you have to bribe on every way. That is already the Nigerian structure in politics. You bribe here, 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 bribe, and all these people. Now, how are you going to make the money back for all these bribes that you have been giving here and here just to become president? So all these things, you have to understand the complexity of the situation before you set out. Elon Musk does not understand American politics, so his plan is crazy. Does he think that the left is not going to influence his party? Does he think that the left is not going to try to demonize both the left and the right? Does he think that both of them are not going to demonize whatever new party he forms? Does he think that the party is going to be subject to him and always obey his will? Because that is where he's going. He does not approve with a few things that Trump wants to do, especially and it's hypocritical on his part, because if he wants to really, if he's that hell-bent on cutting costs, he should start with his company and stop taking government grants. There are a lot of free money that is given to him. So that being said, I support Trump. People should not be forced to buy an EV. People in America should not be forced that, oh, you must buy an electric car. That is stupid. It's America. People have options, So I support Trump, in what Trump is doing. Elon Musk, then again, let us be realistic. What was Elon Musk? Elon Musk was afraid of the craziness of the left, and it justified, very, very justified. But that notwithstanding, Elon Musk never moved. When it comes to his beliefs, he never really moved. It is just that the left went so far left that everybody that stood still on the left was now a member of the right automatically. And the left has a way of eating itself and, wanting to be more leftist than the other, wanting to be more righteous than the other leftists. So they keep on going far, far left and further left and demonizing anybody that is standing still. Oh, you have not gone this, you have not done this yet, you have not changed this yet, you have not now believed in this new leftist direction or policy. There's something wrong with you. You're a racist, you're a right winger. So that is what happened. So Elon Musk never changed. So I can understand why he would want a political party, because the right is always the right. He was never on the right. He stood still. But the left went so far left that everybody else was on the right. They demonized anybody that stopped going far left with them and deeper into leftism with them was automatically on the right, was automatically racist. So for those standing still, they automatically became on the right. So is there a space for where Elon Musk standing for a party to be? Yes. But the way Elon Musk is going about it, I don't think he understands how politics works. Does he think he's going to control it? Think about the firepower that is going to come against him. If he cannot stand with Trump and face the firepower, because it's affected his companies big time, and he didn't know how to navigate that. It's affected the stock companies. He's standing with Trump, and he didn't know how to navigate that and do that well. But clearly, people like Bill Gates and Soros know how to handle their business and push political causes. And a lot of it is with the media. There is no focus on the media, on the leftists, because all the leftist movements are controlled and paid for. Antifa is controlled and paid for. The Black Lives Matter is controlled and paid for and owned. So the right has no such thing on the masses and on the youth. So a lot of all these movements that we see on the left is controlled. That's why we can see them having, they will support a war here. Then when it's somebody on the right that is doing something that is pro-war, it is bad. But when somebody that is on the left is doing it, it is okay. Because it is not about the principle. It's about what the control have been sent forth for them to support. That is what they support. So that being said, we'll leave things there. I've said so many things. Make sure to check out alfred.vip for more, post more questions in the comment section of this video and, hold lives. God bless you.
Say this prayer audibly if you have not given your heart to Jesus Christ. Dear God, I believe in my heart that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, came, died, and was raised from the dead to save me. I confess Him, Lord, over my life and ask you to give me your Holy Spirit to live within me. I receive your Spirit by faith and thank you for I am now born again. In Jesus' name, amen. If you just prayed that prayer, congratulations, you're now a Christian. Go to alfred.vip and get resources that will help you with your work with God.